Welcome, Tara. We actually have you here for the Self-Care Summit 2020, our very first. You are going to be contributing speaker talks as well as some yoga for us. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Thank you very much. I am very excited to be here. I was born in Montreal, Canada, but I have been a road runner my whole life. I've lived off and on in Brisbane, Australia for 6 years, and now I am currently living in southern Nicaragua. I have a long-standing history in academia, both in the arts and in business. But I've also done 2 yoga teacher trainings and several retreats, which have really sparked my passion and changed my life entirely. So after completing my PhD last year, I decided to move away from a traditional career in academia and actually follow my passion for self-development and wellness. So my current career is under construction.
And that is very true for many of us, but we're very happy to have you with us. Now, we are here for the Self-Care Summit. So what are some of the obstacles you've experienced in your journey towards self-care?
I have had many. I continue to have many. It is an ongoing process, just like defining my career. I'm constantly defining and redefining my relationship with self-care. My biggest struggles have been in connecting and accepting my emotions. Like many people, I grew up in an environment where my sensitivity was seen or was not very supported. So being very disconnected from my emotions, on top of being extremely intellectual with my academic background. I'm much more in my logical, rational side than my emotional, feeling side of things. It is also exacerbated by my tendency towards being a perfectionist and having exceptionally high expectations for myself. So that's been a struggle. And learning how to put myself first. Feeling a responsibility towards my family, to my friends, to my community, to everybody else, and not knowing how to properly show up for myself.
Well, thank you for sharing. Those are very common themes for many of us. I know for me personally, I held on to progress, not perfection, for a very long time as baby steps to help me get through that. So appreciate you sharing and being part of that journey. Now, what are you seeing in your practice with your clients? Where are they struggling with self-care?
What's interesting but not surprising is that I see a lot of similarities. I see a mirroring of my clients and the women around me with the same struggles that I do. I would say the biggest one, though, is really feeling responsibility, like an overwhelming responsibility towards others, especially their families, not knowing how to put themselves first, and not being able to give themselves grace for where they are in their process and their own path.
Well, again, I think the first two have been echoed by almost every single speaker through the summit. That's part of why we're here, right? That's part of why we designed it this way. Now, overall, you are doing a yoga class, so I want to make sure that we circle back. Tell me a little bit more about your yoga philosophy.
My training has been in the tantric tradition of yoga, but I've had a bit of a mixed bag in my trainings. So everything from hatha, kundalini, vinyasa, my personal practice with yoga actually started with Bikram, which is extremely like rigid and militaristic.
That seems like a
My
natural place for you to
personal
start.
That's exactly right. Like, I do not advocate for that style of yoga now at all. But it was where I needed to start because I couldn't connect with the idea of doing a restorative class. I remembered the first restorative class and lying there and being like, why am I taking a nap right now? This is useless. Now restorative is my favorite. But for me, yoga is really more than a physical practice. It is the lens through which I perceive my entire life, and the philosophies of non-duality and um, a universal connection is really what drives and sustains everything that I do in my life.
That's beautiful. Again, I didn't mean to catch you off guard. I just thought it was oddly fitting. Now, what is one of your self-care wins, either from yourself or from one of your clients?
I would say really stepping into my feminine energy, my feminine power, developing the awareness of my masculine dominance. And instead of rejecting that or being too hard on myself for that, working towards finding a balance between the two. So using my intellect, using my organizational skills, my tendency towards logic and rationale as a structure, as a foundation for really allowing my feminine energies, my intuition, my emotions, my sensitivity to move fluidly in my life. So learning to soften my perfectionist nature and accepting that I can be perfect and a work in progress at the same time, and not needing to have all the answers before I start something.
I think that you coined it beautifully earlier by saying finding grace for where you are. I think that's a very eloquent place to be. Now, we do have you here with the summit. So that is starting on Sunday. I want to say 10 o'clock your time. What are you doing after the summit? What are you working on currently?
I am flowing through everything that life throws at me. Moving through all sorts of cycles. We're starting a new cycle on Sunday with the summit. So it's going to be a new moon, a eclipse, and the summer solstice. So the next 6 months is going to be a completely different chapter for me. I'm not entirely sure what that's going to look like. I do not have any immediate plans to Montreal because there are no flights. So I am, fortunately, quarantined in Paradise for the time being. So I'm working with Costa Dulce, and my next point of focus is going to be to really support the community here in their growth, and in transitioning into a new space of holistic wellness. So starting from
I think we kind of froze. So one of the things about being in Paradise is that the internet is not always super reliable. We're going to give it a minute and see if All right. So that we missed a whole chunk of that because you froze entirely. So I'm pretty sure we lost you at supporting the community for a more holistic vision.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure what happened.
So jungle Wi-Fi, hashtag paradise problems. Just gonna keep flowing through that. I was saying that in order to deliver any sort of offering from a place of authenticity, you need to truly embody what it is you are selling, what you're delivering. So there are a lot of challenges that the community face here, and working towards educating them first and foremost on what holistic wellness means, and returning them or inviting them to return to their own intuition, their own traditions of natural healing and wellness is going to be my first next step.
Well, that is fantastic. I can't wait to hear some of those stories as well. Tara, thank you so much for joining us both today and over the course of the summit. We really appreciate having you with us.